Yo, what up, what up? It's your boy Russ tapping in. I'm in the building, holding it down. Now I'm in. This is my side hustle, Russ Enterprise. If you're in the state of New Jersey, you need armed guards or unarmed guards, just hit my business line and I'll get right back at you. Now I mean, today I got a special guest with me today, man. He go by the name of Conrad. You know what I mean? The real podcast. And we're gonna expound on King David. You know what I mean? Yo, so Conrad, man, yo, let me know what you know about King David, man. Let's get it in, man.
Well, what don't we know about David? He was he's a king, started from a shepherd boy. You know what I mean? Had six sons. We attribute him only to David and Goliath, but there are some other situations. He canceled out. Some guy took his wife. You know what I mean? Had his son. Solomon was regarded as one of the wisest kings ever. And immediately after took the throne after David passed, you know, said, God, I need this wisdom for what these two women is about to bring me into. So I need your help. But most importantly, we only attributed him to David and Goliath. But there was times when he went to go build the temple, and God was like, "Yo, my G, respect for all your faithful service, but you can't build this temple. There's too much blood on your hands. But you can go and get the things that the next generation will need to." And that's where we get that phrase, your latter will be greater than your former. It's out of that scripture. I believe it's out of Haggai. So yeah, man, I know a little bit. We'll dive into that today.
Word up. Yeah. The Most High didn't choose him because he was a man of war. You know what I mean? So he wasn't chosen to build the temple, you know what I mean? The
That's
sanctuary
fact.
for, you know what I mean, for the the cherubim angels to come through and etc. And you know, the Most High chose Solomon because Solomon, you know what I mean, he ain't body a lot of heads, man. You know what I mean? And the crazy part is, like, yo, King David wasn't even cool with his son like that, you know?
Nah,
But yo, I wanna expound on how everybody slept on King David. Know what I mean? Like when the
hmm
prophet Samuel came through, because David got like seven, no, he got eight brothers, right?
yeah, he got eight brothers, and he was the least of them actually at the time when the
Right,
war was
right,
going
because he was
on.
the
Those
youngest, yeah. Know
Yeah,
what I
and
mean? So
those brothers were, I think, over 5 to 10 years already in the army. Had done go through infantry training, and
right.
even in David's youth, he didn't show any excelling in that. And the way it's kind of like anybody who's seen the movie 300 is like your boy's got to be instituted in like the war from the army, so they got to be around the army, watching them go through certain training as a kid to be able to immediately say, okay, we're going to put David in. And that wasn't the case for David. David started herding the sheep, which they all looked at as like, as women would call men sassy. Back in those days, they'd be like, okay, yeah, like he's a little sassy boy. He takes care of the sheep.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go that far with it, but he was a shepherd boy. But hold on,
Yeah,
don't
he was a shepherd.
downplay that though, because um, the reason why the Most High chose him is because David was thorough. Because when the first incident that popped off with the sheep was a lion, he
Yeah,
bodied the lion. You know what I'm saying? After
yep.
that, the
He
bear tried
bodied
to
the
take
bear,
over. Yes, he bodied the
and he
bear too. So behind this, like in closed doors, I mean, he was real thorough, and the Most High seen that. Not everybody seen, nobody seen that, but between him and the Most High, and a lot of people slept on David, man. They say they didn't think he would be worthy to be deemed to be king. You know what I mean, they thought the oldest brother would be the king. You know what I mean, but
yeah,
well, I don't want to say they. I would say Samuel the prophet, because
yeah.
Samuel the prophet was like, let me highlight. You know what I'm saying? Let me see if the Most High was like, nah, that's not it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
So fast forward, he sees King David. He was like, he was the Most High spoke to him. He was like, yo, this is it right here. So he was
yeah.
kind of shocked. He was like, "Yo, this is not but a boy," but
But
he
you see, the
anointed
thing
him
is,
and let him know that he
but,
was the future king of Israel. I
but
mean,
you see, yeah, but you see, the thing is with Saul is Saul was always trying to, even though God was trying to show him what to do, and the Most High was trying to show him what to do, Saul was still always trying to get partial glory. You get what I'm saying? And the Most High doesn't operate in a way where he shares any glory with anybody, because ultimately it's the Most High that places you, puts you in a position to do what you got to do. So when it's come time to give the dues, it's like, show respect unto who respect is due, right? So with Saul, I mean, that was his immediate. He was always kind of flowing in a double-minded place. So, but his double-mindedness and his willingness to brush David aside was the steps that were necessary to get David to the next level.
yeah, I agree with you on that, man. King Saul, um, he kind of exalted himself to a certain degree. You know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
When David defeated Goliath, David was on the run for like a long period of time because King Saul got jealous of him. You know what I mean? First he
Yeah,
doubted him. He's like, yo, there's no way this kid is chosen to be king to take over my throne. There's no
yeah,
way. Then when
yeah.
he defeats
When he
he
defeats
defeats
Goliath.
Goliath, that's when he got famous behind that. He got jealous. So by him being jealous, he sent his soldiers, you know what I mean, chasing him, you know what I mean, to body King David. You know what I mean? And
100%.
sometimes go ahead, chime in.
No, I was gonna say 100%, but like let's not brush even over Goliath, because it's like another man saying, like, he basically put out a hit contract and was just like, all right, yeah, I mean, get this guy out of the way. Like, we were just using him to do a job, X amount. You gotta understand, Goliath was 9 foot tall, 9 feet tall, 700 pounds, bro. The Philistines didn't even waste time with a full out war. They would start a war and then be like, yo, Goliath, we're tired of fighting these guys. Go deal with the rest of them. And he would swing his spear, and he actually had a battle axe. Goliath originally had a battle axe that he would swing, and it was double-sided. So no matter which way he swung, your whole camp was getting it. Like, they used to win wars in record time with Goliath. So when they finally conceded and said, okay, David, we're going to choose you to do the job, they didn't actually believe David was going to get it done. It's like they were laughing behind the scene. They were like, we're going to try this guy, but be prepared for him to fail. And then Saul, he's like, all right, I still want to get some glory out of this and say I chose a man that could defeat him if he wins. Go put on my armor. Because when you put on a next man's armor, it's like putting on Jordan, Team Jordan. Everybody knows what the Jordan brand logo looks like, right? So now imagine he wins, David wins. Who does the glory go to? Who's everybody bigging up? Are they bigging up Saul for picking David and sending him out there? Or are they bigging up David? Because you have to remember, he didn't wear Saul's armor down, because he said even when he was trying it on, he's like, yo, bro, this is too heavy.
Yeah, it was too
like,
heavy.
I can't move in this. I can't move
so
in
that's
this.
when
This
he
is not
grabbed the
about
three
it.
stones.
Yeah, you get what I'm
stones
saying?
or whatever to get ready to you know what I mean, body
Yeah.
Goliath or whatever. Yeah.
So that whole aspect of it is it's not even so much that Goliath got hit. It's what Goliath means, right? If we look at it in the sense of when you know your life and I don't know your life, and you might say, yo, bro, I've been through this. I gotta be like, all right, cool. Like, why you keep telling me that story every time we talk about getting over something? And you're like, no. You don't understand, bro. Like, this was a Goliath for me to get through. It's so we're used to 7-foot guys walking around here. We're not used to 9-foot guys in the NBA or in wrestling. We ain't never seen nobody 9-foot walk around. Imagine you see a 9-foot guy and he's not like decrepit or his knee's not about to fall off. We're talking about he's built, he's solid, he's got his clothes together, it's nicely tailored, just like somebody who's 5 foot or 6 foot. You see him walking around, you're not gonna think twice. He gets in the basketball court and you body him like you,
Twice, yeah.
You know what I mean? Clap that ankles and pull it back and dunk on him. It's one thing to dunk on somebody who's maybe a foot taller than you, but somebody who is bigger than the tallest man recorded in history. So Goliath and the fame of Goliath, killing him, I should say, sorry, YouTube, removing him, right, is to get unsurmountable fame in the whole land of Israel, not just in Judah. Like, it's not just where in their little tribes. And that's why Saul he actually took it as a disrespect. Because he was going to, after he took off the armor, Saul was going to stop David from going to war. Because he literally asked him, he's like, yo, bro, like, you really not going to wear my armor? How do you think you're going to win this? And David's like, don't worry. He's got something, but I got something bigger. I've got the Most High with me. I'm good. And the Most High will guide me through on how to beat him. He was like the Most High. The Most High talked to me and told me to go get you. So you're going to tell me the Most High is going to move past me and talk to you. So there's two areas of this now where Saul's pride gets hit. You get what I'm saying? And that's why immediately after he killed Goliath, he only had one chance to recoup glory for himself. Because then the story's not about David. Nobody's coming to David to say, okay, we need to make you king or we need to interview you. It's like, Saul, we don't know where David is, but how great of a king are you to know your constituents in your kingdom, that you could pick a little shepherd boy and make him a warrior. That's a lot of a different conversation than, yo, David, you're the man. How did it feel not using Saul's armor?
You know, it's one of those things, man. Like you said, man, pride, man. You know, Saul was very prideful, man, and he was, you know, he had a steadfast spirit to body David, man. You know, there's times that David, you know, he was chasing David for so long, right? David will be hiding or whatever, and he'll go sneak into his castle or whatever and cut a piece of his head and let him know, like, yo, listen, man, if I wanted to body you, man, I could have been bodied.
I could have bodied you.
You know what I'm saying? You know, but yo, David, throughout the midst of him dealing with that situation with Saul, you know, Dave still had a lot of respect for Saul because he was like best friends with Jonathan, and Jonathan's
Jonathan was his son.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they were close friends.
Yeah, so there was tight like vice grips or whatever. So
it was actually Jonathan who told David about his father's plan.
Yeah. He had to give him give him heads up on that, you know, because you know, like they had a serious bond together, man. They was like brothers, but not blood brothers. You know what I mean? That's how close they were. You know what I mean? But you know, with Saul or whatever, right? You know, throughout the midst of him trying to body David, man, he still, even when David like showed him like, yo, I could have bodied you on the spot right there, he still was prideful and still wanted to body David, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But David never understood why he wanted. Yeah, I mean, he knew why, because you know he got the fame of bodying Goliath, and that created a sense of jealousy towards you know, King David or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, like, yo, like, I mean, you know what made King David so unique, man? He really didn't rely on his own understanding. Like, he really you know, trusted the Most High. And y'all want to get your perspective on that, like, yo, how important it is. You think it is to, you know, put in a lot of trust and faith within the Most High? Because, you know, a lot of us, you know, we got a Goliath in our life. You know what I mean? Everybody got their own problems. So it's like, yo, like, how do you conquer those Goliaths within your life, man? You know what I mean? Like, how important it is to have faith and really trust in the Most High.
The reason why, I mean, first off, it starts about relationships, right? So personally, I can say my relationship with the Most High I'll say it's like this. It's like I hear what people say, I hear what people preach. It's like, okay, Most High, I want to see it for myself. That's the first thing we don't realize. Is just that we actually have the freedom to say, okay, Most High, if you're there, Most High, you're real. I'm not calling you 50 people. I'm not calling you names. I'm not calling you 100 names. Prove yourself to me. And you show me that, you are the Most High God. And it's not even about being in a situation that you don't have a plan for. It's about saying, how do I build this plan? Right? That's the uniqueness of David's relationship. Because look at his interlude when he's going to battle. He's like, yo, you come to me with a sword, with a spear, and a shield. But I come to you in the name of the Most High. For when the lion came upon me, I ripped it in twain. And when the bear came upon me, I did it also so. And that is through the Most High. So he's kind of speaking to two sides of the Most High right there. He's speaking in the side of the Most High that can protect and empower, right? And so even though it's two situations that David drawn on, let's think about the times when, the wolf came. David didn't talk about that. David didn't talk about the time when he had to maneuver and trust the Most High when the sheep was falling off of a cliff. You know what I mean? They go by the riverside. So it's times over and over again when you build up your trust in the Most High because you have a self-first experience where you could have made a plan, but a plan didn't need to be made because the Most High came through for you. You made a plan, and it started off a little rocky, and then the Most High came in and smoothed out the details. And you're looking at it, and people will look at it and be like, well, no, you had a good plan. Because if you have a good plan, it'll work everything out. Not all the time. You only build great plans and nothing works out. Right? So it's so important, especially in my life, bro. I've seen too many times where I should be deleted. And I can tell you straight, like I'm with some real street thugs, some real street guys. And none of them could have protected not themselves and not me. And I didn't shout, oh, Most High, come save me. It was out of the depths of my heart. I was like, Most High, I know you got me. So I'm calling on you to keep me in this. And it's just like, yo, I'm going to put my head down and I don't know what's going to happen. Because that's the thing. You calling on the Most High is the first acknowledgement of that relationship. The second part is I'm going to put my head down and I'm not going to look to the left and I'm not going to look to the right. But I'm going to trust the Most High that the Most High got me. So I'm going to put my head down. I might even close my eyes. And yes, I'm still hoping for the best, but that best is the Most High. And then boom, by the time you pick up your head, you're like, oh, snap, like it's done and dealt with. Oh, snap, I'm protected. Oh, snap, that door actually opened. You know what I mean? Bro, many people can testify to it. There's jobs that they got that they know they don't have no business doing. Now, they got the smarts to do it, but that paper qualification, they ain't got it. And see, here's the problem. These people don't come on platforms and say, you know what, real talk, I didn't have a reference that I could have called on. There's nobody that I could have got to deal with my resume in a proper way. But I literally prayed to the Most High and I said, Most High, I need you now more than ever. Come through for me. Right? Because they feel like it's going to sound corny. Or if people say, well, that's just a coincidence. If that's how people want to dumb down your experience, then cool. But you got to reaffirm them back and be like, this is my firsthand experience. I didn't go to no church. There was no preacher. There was no organ. There was no singers, right? So I'm sorry. I know I'm rambling, but like I just wanted to kind of lay that foundation that it's so important to have a connection, have a relationship with the Most High, because it's in those situations when you don't have the strength, you don't have the physical stature, you don't have the status, you don't have the clout, you don't have the name, you don't have the acumen. There's nothing about you that should get over, but you get over. Who gives you that determination? You build it up in yourself, but the thing is we got to remember and acknowledge we're human, right? Sometimes we need something more than us. That's what the Most High was for David. That's why, even though he didn't let him build the temple, he's like, yo, David's a man after my own heart. Now, look at that phrase. The Most High said, David is a man after my own heart. Now, we can look at this in two ways. We can either say, yeah, he does the things that God wants him to do, which most time it was true. But there were times when we see that he didn't do things. So how could a man that can still fail be a man after God's own heart? It's because he always considers what God wants, even when he's wrong. And that's the thing that we got to humble ourselves. Just because we don't go out there and do something wrong or delete somebody or rob somebody or steal, it doesn't mean that there's things that the Most High still ain't pleased with. And it's not about perfection. It's about excellence. And as we dig through David's whole life, it's not about perfection. David was never perfect. But where it concerned the heart of God, he was excellent in that. And that's the thing. That's the second part I would say is about forming a relationship where it's not about you being perfect. It's not about you being holier than thou. It's you being excellent in what God has called you to do. Right? The talents that God gives you, the talents that the Most High gives you. And you're able to, whether it's in a short span or a long span of time, it's about being able to execute that in the excellence of the Most High, through the Most High. So when people are like, yo, how did you do that? And this is where we got to be a man after God's own heart, like David, where it's like, yo, I did it, but the Most High empowered me to do that. How did that happen? Well, it was a lot of long nights, but as I was praying, as I was building up my relationship with the Most High gave me the thought process, gave me the idea process and how to flex that. So that's why it's really important. It's like having the ultimate backup.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that, man. And David definitely wasn't perfect. Like he did some messed up things. Like if you know the um the origin story on with his soldier, I mean, like,
Uriah.
David, he slid up in that,
Yeah.
I mean, and
And caused the man to get deleted on the
right,
battlefield and
right.
then took his wife.
So,
Yeah.
and this soldier was a loyal soldier. I mean, like, David would tell him like, "Yo, go home, go lay with your." I mean, he told him to do that so that he he wouldn't suspect that Shorty stepped out on him because King David and shot up the club. You know what I mean,
Yep.
so he was the soldier was so loyal that he's like, I ain't going nowhere, man. I'm sleeping outside your joint and I'm watching over your head. You know what I mean? So that's when David made the decision to line them up to get bodied in the front lines. You know what I mean? Now
Yeah.
obviously, go ahead and chime in.
No. Go ahead. You cooking on that. You cooking. Keep going, man.
Obviously, it wasn't a good thing he did that, and he paid for that decision he made to get lined up like that. So, his kids are now, being unalived or whatever. What else happened to him?
Well, that was the main thing because he
Yeah, that
wanted
was the main.
David.
That was the main
David
joint.
wanted that, but God let him sit in torment for that. The Most High let him sit in torment for that. I think it was like well over like 3 or 4 months. To paraphrase. It was bad.
And what in the scriptures they focused on how he repented, like how sincere his apology was. You know what I mean? It wasn't because his seed got unalived or whatever. It was because he knew he did the wrong thing, and he genuinely was apologetic about that situation. You know what I mean? And I don't know if you noticed, man, but a lot of signs been popping off. They saying that they actually completed the red heifer ritual. Yeah, I mean they trying to they downplaying it, trying to say like, yo, it's just a practice run, but from what I've been hearing, man, it sounds like yo it was the real thing. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Jeez.
go ahead. Look like you about to say something, man.
Nah, bro. I'm taking this in. I didn't even hear. I like, bro. I used like, bro. They need to chill out, man. People need to chill out, man.
Yeah, I mean, yo, that's just one of those signs that, you know what I mean, we at the last hour, man. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Even though the third Solomon temple hasn't been rebuilt yet, you know, it's in the process. Like, you know, once they start building it, man, you know, ain't gonna take no time to build that thing. You know, they got the
They
ritual
still
out
have
the way.
to. Yeah, they have to hit the peace treaty from Trump or whoever.
Yo, it's funny you brought that up because they saying Monday he got a big announcement, and some people believe that Israel going to be
peace treaty.
Yes, Israel going to become the 51st state, and they're going to pop off with that peace treaty. Now, everybody, or I don't know if everybody knows this, but that peace treaty is prophetic.
Yeah,
because we all know what happened. Treaty. Who breaks the peace treaty?
Yeah, the Antichrist.
The Antichrist. So it's like, you know, yo, I don't know, man.
But even before that, the minute that the peace treaty's made, is this man the so-called Antichrist is supposed to appear before the United Nations in their meeting. Man, if Trump does, bro, oh my goodness.
Yeah, they said
I was scared I was scared when the Euphrates River dried up. When the Euphrates River dried up and they were having that war.
It's not completely dried up yet.
No, it's not completely dried up, but like even reports have been coming from there saying that, you know, when soldiers and them are passing by, they're hearing like wailing souls and whatnot. And I'm just like, yo, I'm like, Lord, could you just let that level raise one more time, please? Like, let it go back up. Like, even though I know that's not gonna happen, but I was straight, man. When I heard that on the news, I was like, they really positioning themselves in the Euphrates River. Like, did they not hear about the prophecy that this is a precursor to the precursor? Oh my days!
I mean,
I hope that does not happen. I mean, all things are in prophecy to be fulfilled. Like, I can't stop it. My wish can't stop it. But that's scary. That is scary.
Yo, man. To be real with you, man, we at the last hour, man. It's not even the last days no more, man. Like, yo, we're cooked, man. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you get left behind, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I don't know, man. Like, I'm not saying like, yo, it's going down. But you know, you see you see the signs clear as day, man. So there should be as a believer, there should be a level of urgency that's screaming inside of you, like, yo, I gotta get it right before the Messiah come back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and this is why a lot of people are trying to get away from. They're seeking out truth and knowledge for themselves, and they're starting to more and more get away from the in the building church mentality, and they're really trying to dig deep for themselves, because it's like within the house, a lot of people not even ready for that. You know what I mean? Like, they don't have the intellect necessary. Like, I have a book called The National Sunday Law, and it actually breaks this down verbatim. So we can do another live stream on that. But I have this book called The National Sunday Law, and it runs through the nations that are going to be involved. It talks about the Temple Mount and even how they would even try to go about it to be built, that even the Vatican would have to be part of that.
Wait a minute, yo, what you mean by that?
Like the building, the Vatican would have to, like, there's the financing aspect, because you have to remember that the aspect of also a lot of the architectural design would have to they would have to literally house that with some of the artifacts that people don't know that are going on, or they don't know exist, but the Vatican's holding. So the Vatican actually has a lot of architectural things that would have to go into place in rebuilding the temple on the Temple Mount. And the only institution that is free enough to do that financially, again, secretly and openly, the Vatican. So,
right, right, and yo, that'll be just, like if we were to expound on that, like I would have to do my research on that because I'm not like I don't really know that much about. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That the
well,
Vatican funding
yeah,
certain
yeah,
things. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I think
No, no,
that's
no.
interesting.
No, trust me, the Vatican actually plays a very big role into what artifacts that are found on these archaeological and these historical archaeological digs. The Vatican has a very big influence in what gets put into museums. The Vatican has a very big influence on what gets released to the public. Like
Well,
they go ahead.
well, the Vatican, they got a whole lot of secret knowledge with their books that they got hidden in their location or whatever,
Yep,
And it's funny
yep.
that you bring that up, but I want you to keep chopping, expounding on what you was about to finish saying.
But yeah, no, like overall, like with all these things happening, and again, this is why here's another key point of needing to have a relationship with the Most High, needing to have that knowledge and be on your search for knowledge and understanding, is because there's an aspect of Scripture that says the Scripture will bring you into all truth, right? So we deal with this in many different ways and facets as men, especially here within the space, right? We deal with it from a red pill ideology, which is deal with the reality of women and not in the fantasy of your mind of how you would like them to be. On the real, we deal with the aspect of self, how acknowledging the fact that you've got some things about you that are not conducive with your purpose, right? So when people say, well, how would I know my purpose? It's not that deep. It's like, nah, everybody has a purpose and a function. Whether you choose to flow within that or not is two different things. And so what we're talking about here and what we're chopping up now is important for everybody to know. It's not about we're telling you to do this, but it would definitely benefit your life to do it, right? Because there's too many people on antidepressants, and the government seems to do a great job on always providing a pharmaceutical industry company that can provide you another drug, right? The more they keep you a base is the more that you just wallow in it. So when they say, yeah, you got to get that chip in your hand, like they've already been experimenting on the army bases. Got that chip in your hand
No,
to
it's
buy and
funny you
sell.
brought that up because my bad for interjecting so abruptly, but
No. Go ahead. I was done.
they say Bill Gates got something lined up for 2028 where they're gonna actually have the chip for the ID. Like, how they got like the real ID, with the
Yep.
licenses and all that. Well, they're gonna have
Yep.
that with the chip by 2028 globally. You know what I'm saying? So, everything's coming into fruition, man. Like the one world, possibly the one world government, you know what I mean? Jobs is probably not gonna be around future wise, you know what I mean? And etc.
Yep.
Like I want to get your perspective on that too.
Yeah, like you see, the thing is what man has never benefited from is from knowledge. It's an unfortunate and it's a conundrum at the same time, because it's like, how has man not benefited from knowledge? Because as humans, we don't have the propensity for peace. We don't have the propensity for true peace. We have the propensity for pseudo peace, which means our country is not literally at war. We are not at war in our neighborhoods. I don't have to literally carry military item to protect myself, which technically you do because of the way our governments are constructed. But it's just like all these things happening, and dare I say, there's a real evil in this world. That's what people don't understand. And they might say, okay, well, good and evil are just constructs in our mind because everybody has the propensity to do bad and everybody has the propensity to do good. Yeah, everybody has the propensity to do bad, and it can click in at a moment's notice. But do you have the propensity to rule yourself out of that bad? You know what I mean? Like David failed when he set up Uriah. David failed when he took the man's wife. David failed when he got her pregnant. David failed. What was David's redeeming factor? The mere fact that he said that when him and Jonathan had the conversation, he was like, yo, I am wrong. Think about it. This is King David now. He's not little shepherd boy David. This is King David. I'm gonna tie this all in. And David says, yo, I'm wrong. I gotta go pray for forgiveness. And he prays and he prays and he prays. Most High's like, yo, dude, I'm not healing your kid. Get up. Change your clothes. Take off the sackcloth and ashes. And immediately David got up. Now, why do I bring this important? Because we're dealing with governments and peoples and figures and company moguls and family trees and bloodlines that in their mind, they've never been wrong. It doesn't matter what they see, what they think we see in society, what they think we know. In their eyes, they're never wrong because they have the controlling power. This is why Saul felt it no way, where when he couldn't get, I think it was when he couldn't get David, he turned on his own son. He's like, oh, I can't get him. I'm going to get you then. Like, you know how messed up you got to be to take things take your own people in your own house and say, if I can't get revenge on this brother out there and you're connected to him just by friendship, I'm going to snuff you out. And these what all these powers do in these different government agencies and they think this is what they're used to doing. And it's like, we still don't get it. Like, are we really, like, even those who like to weigh on your political parties and those arguments, those are good things to have in terms of knowledge. But here's a question to you. When are you going to stop having the argument so long that you don't realize you're being puppeted even to have that argument? When we talking about breaking out of the matrix, yeah, let that question soak in. Yeah. We've been having the arguments about Democrat and Republican for so long that now we're more focused on who spent $14 billion to pay off Beyonce, Meg Thee Stallion, and all these groupies. And we're so focused on how bad Trump may be and how he's getting the policies wrong and da-da-da-da-da, and he's a racist and he's this. And they're both toting the same line of evil. And we're sitting here arguing for it. And we don't realize that the more we argue about it is the more we become sheeple. Because you're still not focused on the fact that they have no intention to do right by you. It's the same thing over here in Canada. Got conservative and the liberals.
Yo, hey, somebody in the chat got a question for you. I'm about to pull it up for you. Hold up. I guess they're saying, wait, the only redeeming aspect of his character was to admit a wrongdoing?
Yeah, at that time, because it takes pride for you. You got to understand, if I'm the king, I could easily turn around and be like, yo, I'm not saying sorry for nothing. And there's nobody in the country that could tell me that I have got to say sorry. And matter of fact, if you try to force me to say sorry, I'm going to snuff you out. Who was going to tell King David to say sorry if he didn't have a heart to say sorry? It's like we keep waiting for these politicians to say sorry for wasting the money, that you're wasting your tax money that they give away to immigrants, only to have the immigrants sleeping under the bridge of the 401 expressway. Did they apologize to the immigrants? No. Did they apologize to you for wasting your tax money? No. And there, even by biblical standards, when we search the scriptures, it says to obey the laws of the land. You know how hard it's got to be for you to trust in the word of the Most High to obey the laws of the land, even though these laws of the land could possibly get you killed? But then what does it say in Romans 13:1? It says, all authority is given by way of God. So when you are in disrespect to the authority, it's not even just that immediate authority. You're in true disrespect to God. See, these people don't even know that their time is coming. That's the joke about where we are in this society. Everybody's trying to invalidate the existence of the Most High in any trivial way they can. and they're not even realizing that. Like, real talk, I hate to borrow this saying, but I'm going to say it. Most, if not all, of our hands is not big enough to box with God. And that's what David did. So when he acknowledged and said, "It's against thee and thee only have I sinned," Psalms 51, "Purge me with hyssop, wash me thoroughly, and I shall be cleansed. Purge me with hyssop, and I shall be whiter than snow." What he was saying is, get into the inward parts of me. It doesn't matter if I'm king or not. My title doesn't make any sense. So for me to come down and say, yo, now put this on a base level. How many of us can truly say sorry to somebody? You were hungry or greedy, and you robbed the man. You didn't care about his rent. You didn't care about his family. Did you humble yourself and go say sorry? Now that's just a figurative question. That's not a judgment, but that's a inward searching.
They got a rebuttal for you. Hold on, I'm about to pull it up.
Yeah, pull it up.
It says, "I fully disagree. David is considered brave. That's why he is considered a man after God's own heart."
No, because to consider yourself brave and to place God and bravery in the same sentence, it means that God would feel that times he's not brave. The Most High just is. He is the Most High is powerful. The Most High is able to do that which is exceedingly abundantly above all we can ask. The Most High doesn't feel moments of weakness, timidness, or bravery. Right? So,
my bad for interjection, and I want to hit you with this question. Like, by seeing all these signs, the blood river, the peace treaty might pop off, the Euphrates River are drying up. How important it is to have a true repentance heart like King David with the Most High. Like, how important it is to have that now. I mean, at the last hour.
It's very important, but it's again, this is a matter of how much does it mean to me to repent? What does it mean to me to repent? And I'll use myself as an example because I don't want anybody to feel like I'm preaching on them and I think I'm perfect. I'm not. A lot of the questions that I'm asking out towards the chat, believe me, I've had to go through them myself. I've had to go through them with friends. I've had to go through them with family. I've had to go through them with my wife. By no means am I perfect. But if you give me an opportunity to change my course, because sometimes we can do so much little things that are wrong, and they're little thing here, little thing there, little thing there. At some point, we got to stop. Some people say, well, I'm just human. It is what it is. Like, I'm not gonna be perfect. You don't got to be perfect, and that's the great thing about it. You don't have to be perfect, but you do owe it to yourself to be excellent. And the Most High is counting on you to go after that excellency, right? So when we actually sit there and take the time to repent, we're removing the aspects of self that don't fit and don't align with our purpose. That's what the Most High wants you to do. The Most High wants you to be at a place where you aren't entangled with things, thoughts, decisions, actions that go against your true purpose, right? You may be purposed, you may be a skillful tradesman, and your purpose in that skill is to take that skill and make it transferable and duplicatable to the neighborhood. So young boys can have an option and say, okay, I can work with my hands in this facet and I can make real money and I can set my family up, right? So it is important for us to have a place that is reflective and repentive to be able to continue to walk in our purpose and stay steadfast and not double-minded.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be double-minded, like, or be lukewarm, because being lukewarm is there's some repercussions of there's some serious repercussions of being lukewarm. You know what I mean? Like, some people would say, like, yo, it's mad important to be on fire, like on fire for the Most High. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we
man,
gotta do it in the chat. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, well, one, what you just said, yeah, I agree on that. Revelation 3 verses I think 16 through 21 or 21. Actually, I would say 16 through maybe like 25. It talks about that, the church of Laodicea. They were perfect in all their actions. They did everything great. They showed up to service. They gave money to the poor. They did everything, but they had no relationship. That's why in the scripture it's written, I would rather you be hot or cold. Because you can deal with somebody once you are able to identify exactly where they are. You know what I mean? But you stuck in the middle, you're in that gray area, that purgatory, as the Catholics would say, you in that purgatory. I don't know where your head is at. You can be like, oh, I'm in purgatory, I'm good. Like, somebody gonna pray me out of here. Doesn't always work like that. You have to make a decision. And only you can know that decision. I could probably try to help you influence that decision and say, hey, you might want to take a step back before you do this and think a little bit, but I cannot make that decision for you.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. And like from what I've been reading in the scriptures, there's no in between with the Most High. It's either you're hot or you're lukewarm. You know what I mean? And if you're lukewarm, he gonna, spit you out. But yo, we gotta do it in the chat, kind of talking crazy right now. I'm about to pull it up. He says King David is an African Hebrew. Who are these two clowns on the screen? First of all, hold on. I gotta correct something. Like, David isn't descendant. His bloodline isn't a descendant of him. You know what I mean? He's an Israelite that derives from the tribe of Judah. You know what I mean? And two, like, we wasn't even talking about his ethnic background, fam. Like, come on,
bro. That's anybody. You know what the thing is, and that's another thing. Sitting there getting caught up in arguments that don't actually build to nothing. I'm not saying that's not good knowledge to know in terms of what was the actual ethnic background. But how many people have gotten led astray from their purpose and what the Most High has for them because they want to know, is Jesus a black Hebrew Israelite or a black Jew? Or was he, as the picture is painted, blonde hair, blue eyes? Now, we can read the scripture and understand that it is not possible for him to be blonde haired and blue eyes based on the region and the time that he was in. We can deduce that by studying the historical, archaeological context and the geography of that day, and we can understand that. I am not even going to say, I'm not going to try and give any argument against that. But again, you would rather be so right on King David's genealogical ethnic makeup and still miss the point. Bro, when I tell you, I used to get on chats with people and argue them down based on the scripture and, this is this and this is this. And I'm just like, I didn't even care to talk about that. If they care to talk about it, I'll definitely entertain it. But what does it gain you to get all this knowledge about ethnic backgrounds and who's who and who's who and who's what, and you still miss the point that every one of us has a soul, and it's your ability, and you kind of owe it to yourself to make sure that you individually are in a place where you are maximizing the talents, the abilities, the strength that you got from the Most High. Because here's the truth about it. Until the Vatican releases all the artifacts and all the manuscripts that they have, we gonna be arguing round and round in circles, because these general books, as much as we can search it, and all these videos on YouTube, they're all missing aspects of context. So I'm gonna just put that out there for the chat straight. Until the Vatican releases all of the original manuscripts of the Holy Scriptures, until they release the artifacts, until they get off their high horse and admit that they held certain things up, because, again, the Vatican comes from Rome, right? The Vatican is telling you not to acknowledge the Son of the Most High as the Most High's expressed image. So how are you a form of Christianity without the Christ in it? It doesn't make sense. So until the Vatican, as a war capital, decides to say, hey, we gonna tell you the truth about what we've been holding in, I'm not personally gonna engage in any conversation about anybody else's genealogical background other than to say blonde haired, blue eyes, probably makeup, movie setting. That's not Jesus. That's about it. It's not gonna benefit us, brothers and sisters.
Yeah, I mean that image is basically an image of Caesar Borgia, but like yo, that's a whole different topic. Like I ain't
Yep.
trying to get into that. But somebody in the chat got a question for you, and shout out to Jay Rillo. He says, "Does today's episode apply to Christians or non-Christians as well?"
Both. It's both. Because, and I always say this, right? I was raised in the quote unquote church, and this is what for me it comes down to. At what point, and you asked this earlier, how important is it to have your own relationship with the Most High? Yo, somebody can lead you to water and you cannot drink, or they can lead you to the stable and you could not trust the water that's there. And oftentimes we're being led into atmospheres and buildings where we already have the predisposition that we might not really trust what's coming out of this stable or this building. And so we've got to be able to search for ourselves. We got to be able to sit there and say, okay, do I want this type of experience? Do I want this type of relationship? And so to somebody who's a non-believer, I think they could benefit from it greatly because it should bring you into a place of self-reflection, right? Let's take all of what we're talking about and say that these are just stories, right? For the sake of argument, these are just stories. What can we learn about David? David was a man that could acknowledge he was wrong, had the propensity to do great good and simultaneously do great wrong, and was willing, even if he had to be judged, was willing to put his pride aside for the betterment of the relationship and the people that were around him. So I think those are great qualities that somebody, whether they're a believer or a non-believer, can pull on. Go ahead.
We gotta include that when King Saul got bodied, like yo, you would think, you know, King David would have been happy that he died because he could take over the throne, but he was really sad about the situation. What made it crazy, right? The dude that fronted that, because there was a dude, I forgot the dude's name, but there was a dude that proclaimed that he bodied Saul, but he really didn't body Saul. He wanted to get the credit for bodying Saul, but that led to his demise because King David was, King David still had a strong positive feeling towards King Saul, even though King Saul wanted to body him. So he ended up bodying the dude that bodied King Saul. Know what I mean? Which I thought that was crazy.
Yeah, I think that was Nabal. Nabal.
Yeah, that's his name. Yeah.
Yeah, bro, I have the scriptures open right now. Like as we turn and like I'm flipping back and forth, so I knew right where we'd be today, yo.
Word. And I think this is dope, man. Like I think King David's a good analogy on how to be prepared for this last hour, man. Ain't the last days, man. It's the last hour, fam. You see what's going on in the world right now, man. You know what I mean? The only thing that ain't come through is the Antichrist revealing his true identity at the third Solomon temple. You know what I mean? Yep. So it's like, it's about to get real, man. You know what I mean? Once that happened, man, you know the vibes, man. The 7-year tribulation. You know what I mean?
And the thing is like we gotta take our mind off of looking for like a mountain, a volcano to be in the middle of LA or New York. Like, listen, tribulation, using that word figuratively, like we could actually say that the majority of people on the Western Hemisphere, North America, United States, Canada combined, right? We're going through tribulation right now. We've never seen interest rates these high before that just have not come down. We've never been in a position in a time like this where groceries and simple things of care are so high and are not coming down. We've never been at a time like this where we can't successfully hire and retain medical professionals in the field to continue having an abundance of care options and care places for people. I would start to say that we're already facing aspects of tribulation. We've never seen a time like this where governments, especially over here in Canada, benefit from people not paying their student loans back and keeping them in a perpetual cycle of owing money, not even to an institution, say like your local college, but they're literally saying you're indebted to me, and at any given point I choose, if I feel like I can't communicate with you effectively, we're going to start garnishing your paycheck, or we're going to hold back your tax refund. The tribulation has already started. We keep thinking dragons, angels, and stuff like that. But what are the things, even as we talked about earlier and just brought it up, when we talked about, okay, the chip in the hand, what is that regarding? That's ID, but that's also buying and selling, right? You're moving to the one world government, moving to the one world currency. All of that is about control. And so the more we get away from these things, we got to understand that it's like, somebody's going to be wrong and somebody's going to be right. I would rather tell you and everybody else, as I encourage myself, that we should be reflective on ourselves. For at this time, trust me, everybody's going to have to make a decision. Now, I'm cool with running up to the hills. I know how to chop down trees. I know how to dig out the rivers and get the clay. I know how to put that stuff together and build a hut, right? I know how to drain blood from most animals short of a bear, a deer, and maybe some moose. Everything else, pretty cool. I know where to hunt out of streams to get fish. I know to what degree I have to have my fire to purify the water before I can drink it. And that's even from the stream water. If I'm not by a mountain that has a direct water source dealing from the top, because it's already purified out there. It's so high that the contaminants can't actually build up because of the temperature. So I'm cool with that. But I have a family. So you see the context of this now. You see the context. Every man is gonna have, every man and woman, boy and girl is gonna have to make a decision based on who
most definitely, for. And that's why when you read certain prophetic scriptures, they say the first people who's gonna go is the mothers and the children. You know what I mean? I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's kind of coming to fruition now. You look at the rate of the single motherhood is kind of high. You know what I mean? From all different ethnic backgrounds. You know what I mean? So these are things we gotta be mindful that's gonna take place, man. You know what I mean? And it's like, once that peace treaty, if that peace treaty pops off, it's just only a matter of time before the Antichrist reveals his identity or whatever. You know what I mean? And they even got like some dude out. I don't know if it was in Israel or Iran or whatever, but he calls himself the Mahdi. You know what I'm saying? Which
I heard about that.
Yeah, so
that's actually been going around for a couple of years now.
Right. Know, because within the Quran he's considered to be the Messiah, but within the Holy Scriptures, that's really the Antichrist. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that's just food for thought right there, man. Like a lot of these prophetic signs is taking place, man. And I've been doing a lot of thinking, man, and I've been cutting off a lot of bad habits, man. You know what I mean? Because the king coming, man. He's coming back for his bride, man. Y'all niggas ready for that?
That's a fair question to everybody, right? And where are you with even just thinking about that, right? Like, and this is why that direct one-to-one relationship, understanding the Most High for yourself. I could testify to you about it. I could tell you about my experience, but I could tell you there's nothing like having your own experience, right? At the end of the day, when it comes down to this, even if, let's say, you're in the chat and you don't believe, somebody's got to be right and somebody's got to be wrong. And all I'm saying is, Rush has said it multiple times as we've been going, that when we look at the signs of the time, it's not even fourth quarter. It's the last minute of the game. We might actually be in overtime, but it's the last minute of the game. And like, we got to wake up and see what's going on around us. And it's not to say you're perfect, but it's for you to reflect unto yourself, to get yourself, even for this last hour, this last minute, get yourself out of things that don't constitute to the greatness of the Most High in you. Yo, we talked about it earlier, but David not being able to put his hands to build the temple, and God was like, yo, dude, you a man of war. And yo, you know the complex in that? The Most High is like, yo, dude, you can't do that because you're a man of war. You got too much blood on your hands. Most people be like, yo, dude, I was fighting for you the whole time. What do you mean I got to? Like, bro, you set me out there to do this stuff and empowered me to do this. Now you're going to say I can't be involved in the after party because I got too much blood on my hands? Like, yo, kind of, no, but you got to understand. You see, if we go back to...
Yeah, but it's deeper than that, comrade, because you got to understand.
No, it is.
You got to understand the reason why he ain't choked. Like, yo, that temple, that temple that Solomon built, you know, it was meant for the Ark of Covenant to be inside there. It was meant for the cherubim angels to be there to worship the presence of the Most High being there, because the temple was specifically built for him. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know,
it's true.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not. He just bust him off, and I understand, because yo, when that flesh kick in, because you know, when you feed in the flesh, man, sometimes it kick in and be like, yo, nah, you know what I mean? You wildin', you know what I mean? But you know, you come off with the, you know, with the Alpha Omega like that. So, you know, David had a mind like yo, he knew who he was dealing with, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why he asked him, he's like, all right, what can I do? And God was like, all right, the Most High was like, all right, go get the materials. Bring all the materials to build the temple. Because it's not for you to do it. Right? And I mean, again, even this goes back to character. It's just like, again, just because you have the authority to do something doesn't mean that you should actually do it. All things are lawful, but not all things are expedient. Right? And as we mentioned, I saw the chat kind of talking about your last comment about, you know, the independent mother and the single mother mindset. Yeah, you could very well be a single mother, but it's not beneficial. It does, and that does not mean that you can't get you can't get a job, or you won't be able to work 6 figures. None of that. We're not saying that. You could very well do all of that and still be unhappy. There's a girl going viral on TikTok right now because she admitted that she had a perfect husband, and that perfect husband, it wasn't what she wanted.
I seen that too.
Yeah, a double-minded person is unstable in all their ways. So it doesn't matter how it doesn't matter what example you choose. Every time we look around, there's an example to say, okay, I'll be like, all right, I ain't trying to preach to you, but it seems like I've seen a scripture that reflects this whole situation before. Like, we talk about brothers being set up by these OF girls and having their money taken, right? But like, the Bible, the scriptures already speak on that. A fool and his money is soon departed. It's just like, yeah, we have a proclivity that we can do a certain thing, and we're hardwired to be able to go out there and just, you know what I mean? But yo, just because it's lawful doesn't mean it's expedient. Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it. I'm a high value man. I'm a high value woman. I can do this. I can do that. Yeah, you probably could. But just make sure the rest of us don't get a hold of it. And trust me, we can do a 3-hour piece on YouTube for you.
Yo, I totally agree with you on that, man. Like, a female's not designed to sleep around like that, man. Matter of fact, yo, if a female is able to sleep around like that with no emotional attachment, yo, she low key selling box. I mean, only prostitute got that capability of doing something like that. I mean,
Yep.
so it's very be mindful on what kind of female you're dealing with out there, man. But you know, I don't want to get into all that. That be like, yo,
That's
we
another
got a
day.
question in
Save
the
it.
chat. I guess they're asking, have you read the Book of Enoch?
I have not read the book fully of Enoch, but I definitely have an apocrypha, and I'm studying that diligently because that's not necessarily something that within fundamental either, and I'm just going to say by organization, apostolic or Pentecostal denominations or evangelical denominations, they tend to stay where they can keep people mentally safe and spiritually subdued. So me myself being a person that I like to have that knowledge, I'm actively studying that. I have not read the full book of Enoch through, but definitely when I do, I'll definitely let Rush know so we can chop it up.
Word up. Yeah, because I guess he also got another question for you. Well, it's not a question, but I guess he's advising you that you should read that before going to read the Bible. Hold on, before you go to read the Bible, you need to read the book.
Read the
I
book of
guess
Enoch.
Enoch. I mean,
Yeah.
I disagree. You know what I'm saying? Because the book of Enoch, man, it's just extra information. You know what I mean? It just gets in
But
the deep because you gotta
but
understand, like uh with the book of Enoch, man, you know, uh there's a lot of things on there, like especially with the men of renown or whatever. The book of Enoch get into detail about that. You know what I mean? Even get
yeah,
into the details of the 200 angels, which was considered to be the watchers. You know what I mean? The nigga
yeah,
that ran them angels, his name was Simyaza. You know what I mean? And then there was another nigga under him called Azazel. Now Azazel was the nigga that was teaching females how to create makeup and all that. Then there was another general of an angel teaching niggas how to create swords to go to war with man. And Azazel also taught what's that joint? Yo, you know them chicks that be into like uh
palm
uh
reading and tarot
those
cards and
signs.
stuff like that.
What happened?
You say palm reading and them things.
Not palm reading, but them signs, man.
Oh,
What's the joint?
zodiac.
Yeah, like yo, that knowledge comes from Azazel, and the Book of
Yeah,
Enoch breaks that down. So it's cool to read. You mean read that, but you know you gotta be prayed up to read something like that, man. Because not all wisdom and knowledge is good wisdom and knowledge to have, man. Know what I
yeah.
mean? So
But
that's
you see
my
the thing
perspective
is,
on the Book
it's
of
funny.
Enoch.
You know, it's 100%. But you know what the problem. You know what? I almost agree with my brother. I can say I would honestly say that because here's the thing, right? A lot of the other stories are foundational, like life foundation, right? It's how our humanity is different from the divinity of the Most High and the blockages that stand with us in an everyday life that stand between us and developing a relationship more and more with the Most High. But then when you get outside of yourself and you go into the general public, even thinking about the book of Enoch, bro, most of the people out there is lost in the book of Enoch. Like, bro, I work in an industry. I'm an administrator for a private health clinic, right? Bro, when I kid you not, when you see how some people are so indoctrinated with and I'm gonna paraphrase it to say they're indoctrinated by Kim Kardashian, beauty by any means. Bro, you can't tell me that woman doesn't have one of them yo, doesn't have that book of Enoch rolling through her to have that type of influence. That, like, think about this. I think it's been over 10 years now, maybe predating the pandemic a little bit, when all women, started making a change for their body. What was the most notable thing that happened with Kim Kardashian? And we're not talking, I'm talking post sex tape. For her to be able to get online and be able to influence the world over of women, not all, but a lot. You can't tell me that's just because somebody's just looking for somebody to believe in. There's something else going on. Nobody is that influential.
Well, some people say that yo, Shorty, she be practicing the mystic arts, man. Like any, you know what I
See?
mean, like her
Yeah.
moms and all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, they into that to the mystic arts, man. So it's funny you brought that up, man. I totally agree with you, man. Because every I don't know, man. You know what I mean? Like I don't care what you know what I mean they do. You know what I'm saying? But yo, it's good to be mindful of you know on things like that, man. You know what I mean? Because you know
Yeah.
everything's not what it seems, man. You know the glitz and glam and all that. It's not. You know what I mean,
No, that's fact.
it's not what you really want, man. You know.
No, that's definitely facts. And that, like, even brother popped up back in the comments and he said there's books of the Bible that refer to Enoch. Oh no, trust me, I know that. Trust me, I know that. But to be real, and I think everybody's got to, again, I mean, take after a lesson from David. I got to take time back from that, right? If I'm doing it only to be fluent with it publicly, so I can say I read it, then I'm still doing it for the wrong reason, right? Because I've got to internalize that. And let's say we have another conversation about the book of Enoch, and there's something that you can teach me or I can teach you, or we can all come to an agreement on. Well, that can't be done in pride either, right? Because we got to break bread and break fellowship, which is what we're doing now. So we're fellowshipping and we're breaking bread. And so even for those who are interacting in the chat, there's an aspect of that, right? And so trust me, Brandon 86, I know, yeah, I'm fully aware that, you know, there's aspects of the Bible that are literally direct verses of Enoch and even Ecclesiasticus, right? So there's some different Bibles, different books that were not included with these 66. And many people have talked it down in many different ways, but yeah, I hear you. And as for your last comment, Brandon, I will tell you who the actual people is and where they came from. Like I said, I haven't finished the whole book of Enoch yet, and I'll be going through that.
I mean, I think the most important thing, and I guess that's why the Council of Nicaea, what's dude name, man? That legalized religion. Forgot it. Constantine.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Constantine.
yeah, yeah. If somebody actually it was
Like
speaking
when he
about
had
him
a
in the
meeting,
chat earlier.
right. When he had the meeting with the you know the Council of Nicaea and the Saints of African, I guess they all came to the conclusion on to choose the 66 books to make the cut for the Holy Scriptures to get dispersed. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
I think I just think they focused on salvation for the focal point, man. All that other stuff is just extra knowledge, man. Like, and
yeah,
that kind of extra knowledge, man, it'll get you lost in the source, man. You know what I mean? If you're not prayed up, man. Not everybody's
yeah.
meant to I mean, deal with that kind of knowledge, man. Not all wisdom and knowledge is good knowledge, man. You know what I
No,
mean?
that's fact.
But
That's fact,
I
man.
will say this though. The book of Enoch will get you prepped up for the great deception. That's gonna pop off, man. You know what
Yep,
I mean?
very
I
true.
will say that. You know what I mean? But
Very true,
you
my G.
know, your local pastor at a church ain't gonna expound on something like that, man. You know
No,
what I mean?
no, that's not their focus, right? That's not their focus. They'll tell you wait for a Bible study for that, and they'll never get to that.
Yo, I'm about to pull up a comment. Somebody from the chat. Okay, as contrary to the holy nature and righteous law of God, and upon
The
apprehension
apprehension of His
of
mercy
his
in Christ,
mercy in Christ, to such as are
penitent.
penitent, penitent, so
Yep,
grieves for a hates his sins as to turn from them all
all
unto
unto God.
yeah. Like you want to respond to that, or you good?
No, I mean, like, that's more of a statement, and like, here's the thing, right? Like, we all, and I say this individually, you got to make up your mind where you are, right? And it's not about like a denomination. Um, like, again, I believe if somebody's gonna be at the end of the day of this argument, somebody's gonna be wrong, somebody's gonna be right. I can't tell a man that he's going to be wrong if he doesn't see what I see. I've got to meet him based on what he sees. Now, if his sight only leads him so far and he's got blinders on, I'll probably phrase it to him in a way of like, hey, I know you can only see so far. Have you taken off your blinders? If he tells me no, I'll be like, all right, do you intend to take off those blinders? Yes or no? If he says no, then I gotta, with grace and humbleness, I gotta allow him to be that. And if I'm fortunate to have another conversation with him, I find another tactful way that might get him to take those blinders off, right? On the other hand, he may be focused on a certain destination. He's intentional about where he's going, so he may not want everything I'm trying to show him. This is where we got to be discerning and be open to have those conversations in those moments of being questioned by people and also taking questions or giving questions to people, right? Because it's getting to a place where we want to remove anything, and I said this earlier, removing things that are not conducive to our purpose.
And I totally feel you on that too, man. I mean, like, well, let me ask you a personal question. Do you believe that we in the last hour, man? I mean, for all these signs is popping off, like, how soon you think the 7 year tribulation is getting ready to pop off?
I don't. You see, the thing is, it's also about understanding the aspect of numerology biblically, right? Because there's a difference between that, which to a degree I'm still studying. Because I mean, you know, as a youngin, when it was the year 2000, I was shook. Everybody, you know, the world gonna do this, the world gonna fall apart. So I'm still studying to understand that aspect of numerology in that 7 years. Is it 7 years in the context with what we are seeing? And so, and as these prophecies get fulfilled and we start hearing the news outlets, we'll hear what it is. It'll either be 7 years by our time, or it'll be 14 years, or it'll be 49 years, right? This is kind of the maybe the lack of clarity in some scripture that you have to kind of give a second thought to sometimes. We could say 7 years, it could be 49 years before that aspect of the tribulation actually kicks up. Now, I'll be honest, it would still be an aspect of the tribulation, because within that, you're telling me for 49 years or for 14 years, something's going to pop off and I'm going to be running in the hills trying to get away from the government because they want me to take a chip in my hand. Bro, I mean, I don't know about you, but I ain't a bear whisperer. Okay, I don't whisper to mountain lions and, you know, I mean, wolves and all that stuff. Like,
here's the thing, though, man. Bill Gates, man, he's trying to make it a mandatory thing, man. Like that's what he putting out there. He's saying the year 2028. He said, like, yo, in order to be a worldwide citizen, you gotta implement that chip inside your body, man. You know what I mean, no way getting around it. That's what he's saying. You know what I mean, so I don't know if he got the backing for that. You know, is the government gonna back him with that? I mean, you think it's possible?
Why wouldn't they? You don't see that the right elements are already being installed to make that a thing, bro. Think about this, right? How many undocumented people are in the Western countries, U.S., Canada, islands? How best to recognize these people and get them out of the way is if you have 90% of the people with that ID chip implanted in them. Because it's either A, you're going to afford it, there's going to be a loan for it, or it's going to be mandatory and it's a yes or no situation. Oh, yes? Okay, go over here. No, go over there. Right? And then everybody else that is not a no, and trust me, they'll have some device. Like even right now, I don't know if this is active in the States, but the police cars up here, they have a new scanner that literally they driving behind you that they don't even have to manually type in your plate. The scanner reads your plate and it brings up everything on you.
Yeah.
Or so you pass them and it scans.
if you driving and your registration is expired, yo, they're gonna know now because
Yeah,
that device that they have in front of the vehicle scans all that. You know what I mean, so
yeah.
by the time they
And
they
before
get
they even notice, it's already up. Hey, you got to turn back and go pull over that guy
yeah,
or
so
that woman or whoever is driving. So it's just like we already have. No matter what anybody wants to say, we have too many examples that the right triggers are being put in place. Bro, even look at AI. Yo, all it's gonna take is for one politician or one like whoever your highest profile celebrity is, for them to get messed up by AI, and it impacts either a certain type of community, and if it's a political figure, it impacts
yo,
a whole country or
yo, it's funny
city.
you brought up AI, right? And I did a stream on this a while back, but me and my mans, we was politicking about AI, right? And there's a channel, right? I know it's gonna sound crazy, but there's a channel where this dude interviews people that proclaim that they're time travelers, right? And this particular individual was saying like, yo, in the future, AI becomes the worldwide government, and there's only like four heads that's running those. I guess it's like a supercomputer or whatever, and
Yep,
it's that's crazy to me, man, because it's like, yo, that's on some sci-fi craziness type joint, man. Like I mean, yo, let me get your perspective on that, man. Like, do you think it's a possibility within the future that AI will become like government?
easily, easily. Because the base programs that we have now for AI, when you ask them about humanity, they already regard humans as like a designated problem in the world. So any device that can categorize you and your gene, right, as almost like a virus, right? Every movie that we've had when AI takes over, what does it look at as the human element as? A flaw or a virus? And then it moves to exterminate said virus, right? So if that be the case, we've already been given examples, whether it's directly or not, that AI will always get to a point where it sees a lower base, lower level thinking of individual as a humanoid, Homo sapiens, as the enemy. Could that happen? Yes. Will it happen in our lifetime? I don't know. I mean, hopefully I live till tomorrow. I just want to face and wake up and see tomorrow. Do I want to see a day like that? I don't know. iRobot told me we're gonna have robots with artificial intelligence that'll be able to protect people on the street and do whatever. But there's going to be one that will break away, right? There's always a one that breaks away from something. So the way I look at all these things is everything is a clue to what I don't know behind the scenes. I don't know what scientist experiments have been already going on with AI since the 90s, right? I don't know what areas have been going on where they might have extraterrestrials around the earth. I don't know. Do I really believe that those are there? Again, I don't know. I've seen so much foolishness out of Earth. I've seen us humans try to do so much foolishness that I'm like, well, if we're already doing this, it must be possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's a possibility, man. I mean, the way we're going, the way we're the direction we're going now, it's like with Chat TBT and Siri and all that. We're kind of becoming dependent with AI, man. It's kind of not a good thing. You know what I mean? Because when we was coming up, we used to remember phone numbers. Now we don't even practice our long term memory when it comes to phone numbers. You know what I mean? We just rely on the phone having a number for us, man.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
contact book, man. That's the same thing. My wife, every once in a while, my wife would be like, "Yo, you know my whole cell number?" I'd be like, "Yeah." And I try to remember more than I have to program. You know what I mean? So I can keep my mind sharp and have my discernment on super high. But yeah, man, the times we're in, like, it's beneficial to have that relationship with the Most High. You know what I mean? Again, it's going to lead us into a whole lot of self reflection. So it's not about perfection. It's about the excellency of the Most High in us and us getting into that as our purpose day by day, minute by minute, hour by hour. Um, and it's not that we brag on that either, but us getting into that excellency will make room for us, whether we want it or not. It'll make people notice you even when you don't want to be noticed. And that's why we should always, try to be as humble as we possibly can, because we don't know how others will look at us, but at the same time, we're not bigger or better than anybody else. And as it relates to where we are in these times, man, the signs of the times are there, man. The signs of the times are there, and I encourage people to study. What me and Rush talked about today. It's I hope it triggered somebody to go and say, okay, let me look into this, because like even still, like I'm real soft with the Book of Enoch. Let me just say this straight. I'm soft with that because, like you said, you have to have a mind. Like, bro, even the book, The National Sunday Law, bro, that I've read that book like 3 times, and it's not like a big book. It's not. I'd probably say it's maybe 150 pages.
I got a question. Now I know you was expounding on that particular book. Now with the National Sunday Law, is it based on I know they want to pay for certain things, but is it based on like making it mandatory to worship on a Sunday?
No. It's just the title. It's really catchy, but it actually breaks down everything that we're talking about. So it talks about the governments that are going to be involved in the Model United Nations that will bring about the one world government, the one world currency. It talks about the Antichrist. It talks about the Temple Mount. So it goes into the scriptures and breaks down the different scriptures that reference the actual countries that will be involved and how we can spot them in real time. Like if you were to ask somebody, what is the country that represents the eagle? We would say what? United States. If we say, what is the country that represents the bear? Now, some people might not know that. So these little intricacies that when the Bible says
right. Okay, so it's basically breaking down David's dream. Not David's dream, Daniel's dream. Because Daniel had the dream about the bear, the eagle, and all that, and it was those represent the kingdoms and all that. Okay, I see. That's a dope book. I might get that book, man.
Yeah, hold on. Let me get it and put it on the screen so you can see it. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, I'm chopping it up with Conrad, man. Yo, for all y'all don't know, Conrad, he got a dope podcast. It's called The Real Podcast. He got dope content on there, man. So make sure, I should put a link. I don't even know how to do that, but I should put the link, in the chat so y'all can tap in. But yeah, I know this is kind of left. Y'all not used to this kind of content, but gotta mix it up, man. Know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. Okay. You got me? So yeah, this is the book called National Sunday Law by A. Land. I can't pronounce the last name. Marcuson. Yeah. And so this is a breakdown. This is an actual breakdown and going into Daniel's dream. Yeah, it's not even 100. Yeah, I think it might be. Let me just see this. Short of the appendix. I think this is maybe like 70 pages, if that. Yeah, literally right on. It's a 70-page book. Real quick, if you can download a copy of it or find an online copy, there's 10 pages of the appendix, but it's a 70-page book, but it goes deep. First time I started reading this was back into 2015, and every once in a while I go back into it. Every once in a while I go back into it to keep myself sharp.
Where I know why you do it, because you catch something that you ain't catch the first time.
You get what I'm saying?
Like this particular book I've been reading, like it's called When Pigs Move In. Know what I mean? Yo, it's a dope book. It's based on exhortation, and it breaks down the science on how to retract unclean spirits and all that, man. You know what I mean? There's certain dudes in there that got certain testimonies on, doing soul ties and etc. So, it's a dope book to get into too. You know what I mean? It breaks down the science of exhortation and all that, man. This Southern Jean I guess she got a statement for us.
King
Saul from the Hebrew Bible, Paul's writing in the New Testament. However, there seems to be a potential misunderstanding as the Apostle Paul, a key figure in the New Testament, does not.
I think we have to kind of be. I think what she's saying is to be careful not to mix up the two. Because I know when I was younger, I did that for a quick second, like when I was way younger. Now, and I was just starting to really read.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really mix them up because the Old Testament, Paul was not even mentioned in the Old Testament. He got mentioned in the New Testament. I mean,
exactly. Well, remember Saul's name, Paul was converted from Saul, right, on Damascus Road. So we want to remember that.
You talking about? Wait a minute.
New Testament Paul, right, was converted.
Yeah. His original name was Saul because he used to actually persecute Christians, man. That was his thing.
Yeah. No, that's fact. That's fact. Bro, I don't got much to add. I gotta go help the wifey with the kids and get the cooking done. I was
just about to say, what I mean? We about to kill it. So
okay.
Yo, any last word for the peoples before we bounce?
Honestly, always glad to be up here with you. I know you've been trying to reach out to me for a long time. I do apologize. Try to get some business stuff and some personal stuff taken care of. But for everybody that's out there, just continue to study, right? Continue to study. Don't have preconceived notions. When you open your mind up, you got to open your mind up to be able, even if you're trying to put a picture together through puzzles, then be on your journey, be on your search like that. But don't confuse perfection with excellence. I don't think it's human possible for us to reach unto perfection, but it is possible for us to reach unto excellence. And that's what this journey is about. Having a relationship with the Most High is not about perfection. It's not about us being better than the next man. It's not about you not having any sin. It's about you reaching unto excellence and understanding that I do have faults, but I'm willing to address those faults and I'm willing to remove them. And all things might not work out the way you want to, even after you address it. I think that's one thing we can really learn from David with his child that he got from Bathsheba. He wanted the child to live. Child wasn't going to live. All right, you got to get up and get back on your purpose. You've lamented. So if there's somebody, if you're crying out for something or you're kind of vexed because the situation didn't go through, take your time to kind of lament, but don't let it halt you from executing in your purpose. Get up, learn from it, and continue to progress. Get the isms and schisms that you know of yourself. Don't worry about what other people got going on. Judge yourself, lest ye be judged. And I'll just keep it there. I'll land my plane there.
You want to tell the people where they can find you at?
Yeah, if you can find me at @DaRealReal_SCE. That's at DAREALREEL_SCE. You subscribe, you should see the black and gold notification or the black and gold logo. If you don't know what it looks like this. Yeah, as of next week, we return back going live every Friday. And when it comes to September, we are on the journey to 30 days of mixed content, short form, long form, collaborations, all of the above. So you definitely going to see Rush over there with us. And we talking about improving ourselves day by day, getting out the things that stop us from trying to be excellent.
Word up. We definitely going to do some more collabs on your joint. And, what I'm saying? This show is officially over. It's your boy Rush getting ready to sign out. Seek wisdom, practice humility, and those remain sucker free. You heard? I'm out. One. Yo, later, Conrad.
Salute, brother.
Peace.